Welcome everyone. My name is Christian, and with my brother Nick and my friend Jayan, we are going to play the second edition of Game of Thrones. It's a game that I very much enjoy. It is always a lot of fun, and rather than do like going over all the different rules, which there are many, we're going to go ahead and get started playing and just explain ourselves as we go along. The first turn, we don't flip any of these cards over, and we go straight to putting down our marching orders. So if everyone could do that. So they're all face down, and now all at the same time, we've put them all face up. Since I have the Messenger Raven as the Lannisters being the highest on the King's Court, I could change one of my orders if I choose, but I don't see any need to do that. So, Nick, being the Baratheons, you get to go first.
Because we are first in league for the Iron Throne, it determines if whose turn gets what. So Baratheons go first, Lannisters go second, and the Starks go third. Sorry, Edward. Right? Now, my first march, I will move one of my navy into the Narrow Sea, but I'm going to keep this one here. Because thing is, with the ship here, I will be able to transport any of my troops to any of these adjacent locations. That'll be done later on. So, now I have a ship in the Narrow Sea with +1.
I'm going to move the troops out from Lannisport, and I'm going to move one knight to River Run and one foot soldier to Stony Step. Since neither one of these are a combat move, you can move them into two different locations, and that's the end of my first move.
My first move, I'm going to move my ship into this area because, as Nick said, if he has a boat here and a boat here, he can attack me here. So I'm going to attack him so he does not get my seas. And I have a +1, so I already have a leg up over him here. Also, I have the sword, which means that I get an extra +1. So I have +2 over him.
So what happens now is each one of them chooses a family card in order to orchestrate the attack. And you just put them face down, and then we'll flip them over. Alright, so we have Brienne of Tarth, which adds 2 to Nick's fleet, and Great John Umber, who also adds 2 to Jayan's fleet, so she wins since she has 2 +1 +1 +1 from the sword. So she has more, and one sword would normally mean that the ship is destroyed, but since Brienne of Tarth also has a castle, then it protects her from that casualty, and it retreats to where it came from.
And also, each unit is put on the side to indicate that they are resting. So I will be able to attack with this until the next turn.
Neither one of them will be able to use this family card again until they've gone through all their family cards.
Yeah, so use your cards wisely.
Nick, so now you have a move.
Alright, I have a knight right here, and I'm moving them to Crack Claw Front, however it's pronounced. And
no, only one of the marches.
Oh, sorry.
Next, I'm going to move one of my footmen into Blackwater, and I'm going to move another one into Harrenhal. Again, since neither one of them are going to be a combat role, I can go into 2 different directions. And since I've moved up in the total number of castles, I now have 1, 2, 3 castles we're changing down the victory track, and Nick also has 2 castles, and Jan started out with 2. So, Jan, you do your next march.
Okay. I'm going to move this guy here use this march to move this guy into Montaigne, and that gives me another castle on the castle track.
Alright, so she has 3 castles now.
Nick, you have one last march.
Okay, and this one last march is going to the Reach. Now, this one has a -1 march. So if this was ever combat zone, I would be going in with 0, since his farmman is only worth 1.
And also, since you're leaving this territory undefended, you have to leave a power token.
Oh, right. Oh yeah, and another thing, every family at the beginning of the game starts with 5 power tokens. Each one pretty much symbolizes political power.
And now Nick only has 4 since one of them is on the board. I have one last march, and I'm going to move my ship into Ironman's Bay, and that will be the end of all the marches. What would come next would be if there are any consolidate powers, which Jan does have one. And Jan, do you want to get a power token, or do you want to muster at that location?
I would like to muster at that location.
Okay,
So
That means I get this guy, right?
she has
I get one?
2 barrels, so that
Yeah.
means she can have an army of 3 and 2 armies of 2.
or you could build a ship here, or a ship there.
Oh, I want to build a ship.
So now she has 2 boats here to match Nick's 2 boats. And that's the end of turn 1.
Alright, that means my dude gets to recuperate.
And the turn order goes up to 1. And now for the second turn, we go ahead and flip these cards all at the same time and follow them in turn order. So the first one is mustering. New recruits are mustered from strongholds and castles. And everyone can go ahead and do that on their own, as I explained.
Alright, I add another guy to my navy.
There are 2 types of castles. There are strongholds, which have the 2 stories. You can keep on doing what you're doing. And there are single-story castles, which can only build 1 unit. Strongholds build 2 units. So since this Heron Hall is 1 unit, I'm going to add 1 footman there. At River Run, I'm going to add a second ship into Ironman's Bay, since that is an adjacent sea territory. And add a foot soldier to my knight at River Run. At Lannisport, I'm once again going to build another ship in the bay and a foot soldier over at Lannisport, since that is 2, 2, and 1.
Can you remind me, I get to add 2 guys for this castle? Okay.
So you can put a ship in any area that's adjacent to where the castle is, or 2 points worth of stuff.
Okay.
Foot soldiers and ships are both worth 1 point, and they have 1 combat strength. And knights are worth 2 and have 2 combat strength.
So is it legal if I have it?
What was here?
Just a whole horse.
Put our boat there, remember. But you can still put a boat here. No, and there. Because you can muster 1 here and 2 from Dragonstone.
I like that.
Yep.
Okay. As you can tell, we're making this up as we go.
Yeah.
So the next card was Game of Thrones. Each player collects 1 power token from each power icon printed on the area he controls.
Okay, I got a crown here and a crown there, so I get 2.
Yeah, these are the power tokens that we mentioned before. Every area that has a crown printed on them, you go ahead and collect.
And since I'm Baratheon, mine's always look prettier.
I forgot the control stony step, but so since I control these 3 territories, I get 3 power tokens. And Jan, you get 1.
I got one.
Okay.
Okay.
And the last thing, Feast for Crows. Consolidated power orders cannot be played during this playing phase. And there's a wildling symbol here, so the wildlings go up 1 track. And we'll explain that further along as we go later in the game and the wildlings attack.